Welcome to the debate. When we watch a professional football match, there is a very specific kind of silence that falls over a stadium when a player goes down.
Yeah, it's chilling.
It really is. It isn't the roar of a goal or the collective groan of a missed penalty. It's just a sudden, tense vacuum. The player is clutching their knee, and on the touchline you see the manager squinting.
Right, trying to replay the last 5 seconds of movement in their mind's eye.
Exactly. They are searching for the mechanics of the injury, relying purely on human vision and, intuition to understand what just snapped.
And in that agonizing moment, the manager is completely trapped by the limitations of their own physical vantage point. It's terrifying because you are watching a multi-million-dollar career potentially evaporate in a single misstep.
Yeah.
And all you have is a subjective, naked eye assessment of a highly complex biomechanical failure.
Which is exactly why we are here today. We are looking at the fundamental tension between traditional human coaching judgment and the emerging dominance of artificial intelligence in football. We are focusing specifically on how this technology impacts the prediction and, crucially, the prevention of career-ending injuries for professional players.
The stakes genuinely could not be higher. We are talking about the difference between a 10-year Hall of Fame career and a career that just ends on a random Tuesday in training because someone's interior cruciate ligament gave out.
Right. And given that knee injuries are the most frequent and debilitating threat in the sport, the question of who or what is best equipped to prevent them is critical. Which brings us to my position today. I will argue that AI and data-driven algorithms absolutely must supersede traditional subjective coaching judgment. Objective data models, utilizing real-time sensor networks, are demonstrably superior at predicting injury risks.
I hear that, but I come at it from a very different angle. While artificial intelligence is an incredible tool, it fundamentally cannot replace the contextual, expert judgment of human coaches. Algorithms are mathematically limited by their parameters. They just cannot account for the behavioral, psychological, and physical nuances of human athletes operating in a chaotic, highly emotional environment.
Well, let's start by looking at exactly why the traditional coaching model is failing our athletes. The core issue here is what the data explicitly identifies as cognitive risk.
Right.
This is the proven discrepancy between a trainer's subjective assessment of a player's condition and the objective biological reality of that player's body. Traditional methods just leave massive diagnostic gaps.
But what does that gap actually look like on the pitch, though? Because managers aren't just guessing out there. They are observing movement patterns based on decades of experience.
They are observing macroscopic movement, though. Like, a coach might look at a player running sprints and think, oh, they look a bit fatigued, but otherwise fine. They miss the micro-compensations.
The tiny adjustments.
Exactly. Modern data-driven statistical methods using wearable sensors can see that a player is putting, say, 4% less weight on their left leg when landing from a jump. That invisible shift is what precedes a catastrophic injury. In fact, a newly proposed AI algorithm utilizing sensor networks demonstrated a 7.2% higher risk prediction accuracy than the existing fuzzy logic model.
Hold on. Before we throw numbers around, let's unpack fuzzy logic for anyone listening who isn't a computer scientist.
Sure.
Why was that the standard, and what makes this new algorithm so much better?
Fair point. A fuzzy logic model is a system that doesn't just see black and white. It operates on degrees of truth. Think of how a human speaks. A coach doesn't say, well, this player is exactly 82% exhausted.
Right. They say, he looks somewhat tired.
Yeah. Or he's a little sluggish. Fuzzy logic tries to mathematically model that human gray area, and it was a good stepping stone. But this new AI doesn't need to guess in gray areas. It uses exact data acquisition from sensor networks, like accelerometers and gyroscopes on the players, to map the actual physical stress on the joints in real time.
Wow.
And that 7.2% improvement isn't just a number. Compounded over a squad of 25 players across a grueling 9-month season, that 7.2% is the difference between winning a championship and having your roster completely decimated by injuries.
Okay. The mathematical achievement of beating a fuzzy logic model by 7.2% is impressive. I definitely don't deny that. But you are treating the algorithm as if it's a standalone savior. The literature itself provides a massive caveat here,
Which is,
that predictions made by the algorithm are not always accurate because there are still a vast amount of unknowns in treating and preventing future knee problems. Algorithms flag statistical risks based on historical data, but injury risk is deeply tied to human behaviors,
like what?
like a lack of awareness, poor technique under pressure, or just momentary lapses in concentration.
But those human behaviors create physiological data signatures that the AI catches.
It catches the symptom, sure, but not the root cause. Only an experienced human coach can observe a player's shifting mental state, notice that they are distracted because of an off-pitch issue, and correct their technique in real time.
I mean,
The algorithm might save the left knees under strain, but it takes a human manager to pull the player aside, calm them down, and manage the psychological environment that is actually causing that strain.
see, you're relying entirely on gut feeling there. And gut feeling is precisely what generates that cognitive risk we just talked about. To prevent specific
Universes are born and die at the snap of his fingers of shadow. The multiverse is nothing but dust, molded by his sovereign will. Beneath his titanic silhouette, subverses collapse, and entire realities bow to the true and absolute ruler of the cosmos. For the creature that holds the infinite in the palm of its hand, eternity itself is merely a fleeting breath. Colossal dimensions are mere toys in the immensity of his domain. He does not merely observe existence, he possesses it completely. Available now on Amazon Books.
to prevent specific career-threatening injuries like sacral syndrome or quadriceps tendinitis, we cannot rely on a manager's intuition. Think about aviation.
Okay, aviation.
When a pilot flies into a severe storm and loses all visibility, their internal equilibrium gets thrown off. Their gut feeling, their human biology might tell them the plane is flying level when it is actually banking dangerously toward the ground.
Spatial disorientation.
Exactly. Pilots are specifically trained to ignore their human senses in a storm and trust their objective sensor instruments. A football pitch during a high-stakes training session or match is essentially a biomechanical storm.
That's quite an image.
It's true. Coaches must defer to AI data acquisition over their subjective vision. We've already seen football associations completely replace human referee subjectivity with video assistant referee, VAR, and goal line technology. Replacing subjective injury assessment with objective AI is simply the next logical step. The sensors don't get disoriented.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you exactly why that aviation analogy falls apart when applied to sports medicine. An airplane is a rigid, closed mechanical system. It operates within the fixed laws of aerodynamics.
Right.
If a sensor says the plane is banking at 20 degrees, the plane is banking at 20 degrees. A football game is the exact opposite of a rigid mechanical system. It is an endlessly variable, chaotic human context.
But biomechanics still follow the laws of physics. Torque on a knee joint is a measurable physical reality, just like aerodynamics.
Yes, but analyzing sports data requires an understanding of the context driving that torque. Sport professionals have to synthesize physical, technical, and tactical data with expert judgment. We talk about algorithms learning, right? Techniques like supervised and unsupervised machine learning.
Which are incredible at finding patterns humans miss.
Let's explain how they actually work in this context, though. In supervised learning, you have to feed the AI both input and output data. You basically give it 10,000 videos of players running and say, this specific gait leads to a torn meniscus.
Right, and it learns.
Yes, the AI learns to spot that specific gait. That's great. Unsupervised learning is when you just throw massive amounts of raw movement data at the AI and let it find its own hidden patterns. Maybe it figures out that players who tilt their hips a certain way during a corner kick are prone to hamstring pulls. Both methods cluster data beautifully.
Right. They cluster data to give us a deterministic forecast of biomechanical failure.
But clustering data does not prevent the injury. A forecast is just a piece of information. It requires a human coach with years of tactical and emotional intelligence to take that clustered data, interpret the human element driving it,
and prescribe a specific training intervention that the player will actually respond to.
So you're treating the algorithm as if it just prints out a spreadsheet and walks away.
Well, doesn't it?
No, AI is much more proactive than that. It provides hard, actionable metrics that neutralize threats before a coach even realizes an intervention is needed. Let's look at the source material's evidence. Researchers recently surveyed more than 800 participants during a football game to map out the exact causes of knee injuries.
Okay.
By utilizing healthcare database prediction algorithms, the AI can specifically model the knee joint in 3D space.
And what is it actually doing with that 3D model?
It is accurately forecasting ligament damage before it physically happens. We are talking about neutralizing the threat of the sport's most common injuries: abrasions, sprains, contusions, strains, and particularly athletes' knee surrounding bursitis.
Wait, so it's predicting the exact moment of failure?
Yes, the AI is measuring the exact friction and force distribution inside the joint millisecond by millisecond. The human coach is simply too slow to process the thousands of variables required to make that forecast. The AI isn't just saying he might get hurt, it's saying if he takes 3 more steps at this current velocity and angle, his anterior cruciate ligament will exceed its tensile limit and snap.
But a forecast is still not a prevention. The algorithm flags a risk, but what actually causes that ligament to snap? The injuries themselves are driven by behavioral realities that AI is fundamentally incapable of managing.
I disagree.
Well, let's look at the broader epidemiological data, because it paints a very different picture of where this breakdown actually occurs. A stratified cluster sample method gathered information on injuries from 5,000 spectators and players at a national football match.
5,000?
Yes, a massive sample size, and the results were staggering. They showed a 53.9% injury rates across the board.
See, that just highlights how dangerous the sport has become under traditional coaching.
Wait, listen to the breakdown of that data. It was split nearly evenly, 27.3% attributed to male athletes and 26.7% to female athletes. But here's the number that completely blew my mind. When they looked at the root causes, 57.5% of all knee problems were traced back to one single thing:
Which was?
a faulty warm-up regimen.
Wait, nearly 60% of knee injuries just from warming up poorly? That seems incredibly high.
It is. And the biological mechanism makes perfect sense when you think about it. When a player's muscles are cold, they lack elasticity. The tendons are like cold rubber bands.
Right, they snap easier.
Exactly. On top of that, the synovial fluid inside the knee joint, which acts as a lubricant for the cartilage, hasn't warmed up and circulated properly. If a player half-asses their dynamic stretches, that joint is physically brittle. The other causes? 40% were caused by athletes committing technical errors during play, and 43% stemmed from the athlete's personal physique and motivation levels.
But don't you see? You are just making my exact point for me.
How so?
If a faulty warm-up causes 57.5% of injuries, that is definitive proof that human coaches are severely failing to prepare their athletes. If a manager's primary job is to manage the human element, and nearly 60% of devastating knee problems stem from something as basic as stretching and blood flow, that proves we need AI to step in and fix the process.
AI can't make a player stretch.
Physiological benchmarks like optimal skin temperature, heart rate variability, muscle activation, before that player is mathematically cleared to step onto the pitch. Right now, we are trusting human coaches to monitor this readiness, and your own data shows they are failing 57.5% of the time.
That is a fundamental misunderstanding of what happens on a training pitch. Have you considered what your algorithmic intervention actually looks like in practice?
I imagine it looks like strict physiological enforcement.
Yes, an AI can measure skin temperature and muscle activation. It can put a green check mark on an iPad identifying that a warm-up is statistically optimal. But the AI cannot enforce discipline. An algorithm cannot force a distracted, arrogant 20-year-old athlete to take their high knees seriously.
But if the iPad says the player isn't warm, the player doesn't play. It's objective.
But injuries don't just happen because of temperature, they happen because of behavior. The research explicitly notes that an athlete's technical ability and their awareness of personal safety are key external influences during practice.
Awareness of personal safety?
Yes, that is a psychological state.
Imagine a player who just lost their starting spot on the roster. They are angry, they are frustrated, and they go into a Tuesday training session wanting to prove themselves. They start recklessly throwing themselves into tackles. They are fully warmed up, their skin temperature is perfect, but their behavior is dangerous.
The sensor network would immediately detect the erratic acceleration and force spikes in their movement.
Sure, the tablet flashes red, but an algorithm cannot pull that player aside, look them in the eye, and de-escalate their emotional state to prevent them from rupturing a teammate's ligament.
I suppose that's true.
Only an experienced human coach can read the anger in a player's body language, stop the drill, and instill that awareness of personal safety. The AI identifies the physical state, but the manager has to navigate the psychological reality.
But relying on a coach to intuitively read body language and act as a sports psychologist is precisely the cognitive risk we need to eliminate. Let's zoom out and look at the trajectory of data science across modern society.
Okay, let's zoom out.
Data science is completely transforming healthcare diagnostics, policing resource allocation, financial modeling. It does this because the human mind simply cannot process the enormous abundance of data we now generate.
Football is not a financial model.
But the human body is a system of data. Sports medicine is just finally catching up to this reality. Think about your car.
My car?
Yes, the dashboard warning light catches an engine overheating long before you smell smoke or hear the engine grinding. The AI is the dashboard for the human body. A coach cannot see the microscopic fluid changes that indicate developing tibia joint soreness.
Well,
They cannot intuitively calculate the exact cumulative load on a tendon across a 3-week period of training, flights, and matches.
the dashboard analogy is perfect, actually. Because when the check engine light comes on, the light doesn't pull the car over and fix the engine. The driver does.
But without the light, the driver drives until the engine blows up. The R&D departments of the world's largest technological firms are generating these AI innovations because automated data analysis is the only way to solve the physical toll of modern athletics. The game is faster, the calendar is more packed. To suggest that a coach's holistic intuition should override an AI's biomechanical modeling is, frankly, irresponsible.
I don't disagree that sports medicine must catch up. The integration of computational tools is absolutely essential. I am not arguing for a return to the dark ages of pure guesswork.
Good.
But we must appreciate the context of that data. You mentioned healthcare and policing, fields where the over-reliance on algorithms without human contextual oversight has led to well-documented systemic failures.
Because the algorithms needed better training data, which in sports, we now have.
Requires an appreciation of the responsibility that comes with accessing someone's private health metrics. The algorithm does not bear moral or professional responsibility for a player's career.
True.
If an AI clears a player to play and their knee explodes, you can't fire the algorithm. The medical and coaching professionals bear that burden.
Which is exactly why they should rely on the most accurate tool available.
As a tool, yes, but because AI cannot treat or predict the unknowns in knee problem prevention, the unpredictable variables of human collision, a sudden downpour changing the traction of the grass, the sheer chaos of a competitive match, human professionals must remain the ultimate arbiters. The AI is a highly sophisticated diagnostic instrument.
Yeah.
But a thermometer doesn't cure a fever, and an algorithm doesn't prevent a tackle. The coach, armed with the data, must still make the final contextual judgment.
If we summarize where this leaves us, I maintain that the integration of AI must fundamentally shift the hierarchy of decision-making in football. The data clearly demonstrates the cognitive risk of human error.
I see your point.
Right, because trainers' subjective assessments routinely fail to match objective reality. We have a new AI model that improves risk prediction by 7.2% over existing fuzzy logic models by using hard sensor data. We have algorithms capable of modeling the knee joint in real time to accurately forecast tendinitis, strains, and bursitis before they rupture.
It's an incredible technology.
It is, and given all of that, we have a moral and professional obligation to let the data lead. We can no longer leave the physiological safety of athletes to the subjective gut feeling of a manager on the touchline.
And my summary is that while the data is undeniably powerful, algorithms are inherently imperfect. They are tools, they are assistants, but they are not managers. When a massive cluster sample shows that over 53% of players get injured,
And the vast majority of those knee injuries stem from things like faulty warm-ups and technical errors under pressure. We are looking at behavioral problems, not purely mathematical ones.
But math can track behavior.
It can track it, but you cannot code discipline. You cannot program a frustrated player to have an awareness of personal safety. The complex, distinctly human causes of these injuries demand the nuanced, contextual, and authoritative intervention that only an experienced human coach can provide. The AI can show us the map, but the coach has to navigate the terrain.
It seems we both completely agree on one core truth, though. The integration of modern statistical and computational tools into larger frameworks is absolutely essential for the future of sports science.
Absolutely. The ultimate shared goal here is minimizing those devastating knee injuries to prolong athletic careers. Whether we are talking about male or female athletes, amateur or professional, the objective is keeping players healthy and on the pitch. The R&D departments of technological firms and the traditional sports community have to keep challenging each other to refine this balance.
So, the next time you are watching a match, and that sudden, tense silence falls over the stadium as a player goes down, clutching their knee.
Oh, it's the worst feeling.
It is. But look at the touchline. Is the manager squinting, trying to replay the moment in their mind? Or are they looking down at a tablet, letting a network of sensors tell them exactly what the human eye missed? And more importantly, as a fan, who do you want making the final decision about whether that player ever steps onto the pitch again?